Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. We are here today to do the next competition in my BB cream showdown, and this time we are going to be putting an e.l.f. BB cream up against a Rimmel BB cream, and this video is going to be the first impression of the e.l.f. BB cream. If you enjoy these BB cream showdown videos, please consider giving me a thumbs up. It lets me know that somebody is watching and enjoying, and if you have not subscribed, think about doing that as you watch through. If you enjoy it, feel free to join my little group here and become a subscriber. In this video, I'm going to speak a little bit about e.l.f. as a company. I'm going to talk about the product a bit, then we're going to put it on and do some check-ins through the day and then give you my thoughts at the end of the day. So let's start by talking about the company e.l.f. This is one of the few e.l.f. products that I own. I believe the only other e.l.f. product that I own is a duo of bronzer and blush, and it's not really my favorite. I didn't use it too much. But e.l.f. actually stands for Eyes, Lips, Face, and it is a bargain brand, really. You're going to find these products for less than you find drugstore products at, and you are going to see these talked about a lot online. They have some really great products in their line as far as I've seen, because you see some people who just love certain products. And then there are some products that you don't really see people talk about, and I don't think they're quite as good. But let's start talking about e.l.f. They have been around since 2004, so they have a bit of history of the company. It's about 12 years old at this point. And interestingly, they are a publicly traded company, but I believe that is pretty recent. So I was trying to find a little bit about the history of this, and I didn't find a whole lot about the original founder and where it started from. I might try to do a little bit more digging to find that out. But what I did find was that in 2014, the company was sold to a sort of larger conglomerate corporation, and it seemed to be that it was sold for maybe 200 to 300 million. And then it looked like, from what I was seeing, that the company did a IPO, initial public offering, which means that it went onto the stock exchange so you can buy shares in this company at the start of 2016. What this means is that it is a company that is owned by its shareholders. So if you wanted to, you could go out and buy shares in e.l.f. and you could be one of the owners of the company. What this also means, and it's not a good or a bad thing in any way, it's just that you don't have one person who started the brand and has the vision. What you have is a company who is there to create shareholder value. They're always trying to drive the products in a way that creates money for those people who own their shares. And not saying that that leads to bad things in any way, it's just a slightly different focus of the company. So what you will see if you go to the leadership page on their website, and I will link their website down below, you don't see, a person who was a makeup artist who started the line and is the president, or somebody who had all kinds of skin concerns and decided to make their own products. What you'll find is that the leadership team is 5 or 6 people, and there's only one woman who's there. I do think that companies need more female leadership, and I find it especially so in companies that market so much to women that the only woman on their leadership team is in a marketing position. The gentleman who leads the team has a background in product marketing. He was with Clorox, he was with Procter & Gamble. Again, this isn't a bad thing, but it's just, you're not buying from the woman who started the company because she had specific skin concerns. You are buying from a corporation. Not a bad thing, just something to know. So e.l.f. itself is mostly known for their makeup. I was actually surprised to see when I went onto their website that they also have a whole skincare range, like eye creams, moisturizers, things like that. You never hear anybody talking about using e.l.f. skincare. You always hear people talking about their cosmetics, and you also hear people talking a lot about their tools. Like, I think that e.l.f. has some really good brushes and things available. Here in Canada, you don't find this generally at our drugstores, which is why it took me a while to find anything from e.l.f. I did find that I went to Walmarts in Canada, which I don't go to too frequently, that I found e.l.f. products. I found a few of them at a department store that I went to, and in a very smart move by e.l.f., I found the most products when I was in the bookstore of a local university. As I said, it's smart. It's low-cost products, and university students would be looking for this kind of thing. And they had a whole, rotating display of e.l.f. cosmetics and brushes, which is where I got this from. So speaking about this product specifically, this in the US retails for $6. Here in Canada, it's about $8 that you get it for. So actually that is still inexpensive compared to most of our drugstore BB creams. I find most of the BB creams to be in sort of the $15 to $18 range. So this is still about half the price for pretty much a fluid ounce. It's 0.96 fluid ounces. The packaging is quite nice. It's the only one that I've used so far that comes with a pump, and I was excited to try this. That is everything that I have to say about this product. I'm going to go on to putting this on my face and trying it out for the first time, so if you're interested, just stay tuned and we will get to that now. My face has been washed and moisturized and no primer put on. I've mentioned this in my BB cream first impressions before, is the first time I try, I will try with no primer, just to give everything sort of the same treatment the first time through. I'm going to put on the BB cream with a beauty blender on half of my face and with my fingers on the other half of my face, because I do find that some of them work better that way. And it does say to apply in a thin, even layer all over the skin with a brush, sponge, or fingertips, and blend in and wear alone or under foundation. Which is strange because I don't know of that many BB creams that say to use them under foundation, because usually it's instead of foundation. I'm going to put some onto the back of my hand and do the finger side first and then the beauty blender side. So that's about how much comes out, and it's pretty thick. Let's zoom in here and apply as much as I can. Now, in looking at my skin, I know this camera does a blurring thing. I do have redness going on. I have some little bumps here. I always have sort of large pores and redness around my nose especially. And then one of my issues is I tend to get shiny through the day on my forehead. So these are all the things we're addressing with the BB cream. Feels very thick. It feels thick. So I'm just going to zoom back out and use a mirror to just do the final touch-ups with my fingers. So it did seem to do a pretty good job of evening out my skin tone. I'm looking a little shiny on this side of my face right now, but perhaps it will set a little bit. It feels thicker than some of the other BB creams have, which is interesting because usually you think of BB cream as more like a tinted moisturizer, like it's going to be pretty light feeling on the skin. And this, you definitely feel that something is there. So I'm going to pump out some more onto my hand and do the other side with the beauty blender. And zoom in to do this again. Quite like how that applied on the beauty blender side of my face. It's really given it a very flawless look that has also evened out my skin texture quite a bit, or I should say the redness of my face quite a bit. I'm actually going to go over the other side with the beauty blender because I feel like it gave it a more lightweight feel, but just the same amount of coverage when I was doing it with the beauty blender. In my opinion, that has done a very good job of covering up the redness. I feel like I'm looking a little yellower on camera than I actually am when I look in the mirror, but that may be my favorite first application of any of the BB creams that I've tried so far. It does not feel like it is shearing out too much. Like some of them feel like they have color, but as soon as you put them on, they're not there. You know, it doesn't have to do the rubbing to actually get any color to come out like the L'Oreal one did. It doesn't look orangey. It maybe looks a little, as I said, a little yellow on camera, but it doesn't look that way when I look in the mirror. So this is good. I am going to go and put on the rest of my makeup. It is currently just about 9:30, and I will come back and tell you about how the makeup went on over top of it, and then we will get on with the day. I am back with my makeup on. It took about 15 minutes to put my makeup on. It's pretty easy look today. I set the foundation, or the BB cream I should say, a little bit with some Cover FX translucent setting powder, which I don't actually find is that translucent. It really gives me a much paler look. I did find when I was looking closer at the BB cream that it does pull me a little bit more towards yellow than I actually am, and it does nothing to disguise my pores in any way. I also found I did not seem to have the best application of blush and bronzer today. It just felt very patchy going on, but I don't know if that was due to the BB cream. Either maybe I should have set it more with more translucent powder, or maybe just the powder wasn't working very well, but it just didn't feel, you know, I just have some days where it's like, it's not looking the way I want it to look. So I do feel that way a little bit about it. I think it looks pretty good. But as I said, it makes me a little yellow. It doesn't really brighten me as much as I would want it to. So I'm gonna have to see how it does throughout the day. I will do some check-ins and let you know. It's about 9:45 now, and we will see how it does throughout the day. See you soon. It's just coming up on 1:30, so this BB cream has been on for about 4 hours so far, and I thought I would do a bit of a check-in and do it in some natural light. It seems to be holding in pretty well, and everything is staying on top of it pretty well. I haven't been doing much this morning. I've just been doing some work. My plan in the next 4 hours is to go and get some exercise, so that will show a little bit more how it holds in if I happen to get a little bit sweaty and that sort of thing. But if we zoom in, you can see I'm starting to get a bit shiny on my forehead, and you can see a bit of the patchiness that I was talking about with putting on blush on top of it. So it is looking a little shiny, although it looks a bit shinier in the viewfinder than it actually looks. And it is keeping my skin tone pretty evened out so far. It doesn't feel oily or anything. I'm just noticing a little bit of shine starting to come through. So I will come back and update you a little bit later. Back from the gym. It's about 3:30, so it's about 6 hours into having this BB cream on, and it's still holding in pretty well. Like, you can still see the contour and blush. I do find that it has faded around here where I've gotten a bit red, and faded on my chin, and my forehead is getting pretty shiny. But at the same time, if you look close up at it, it's not like it's cracking apart anywhere or it's like done something weird. I wasn't sweating drips or anything down at the gym, but I was perspiring, and it didn't seem to make it break up or anything, so that's good. I'll zoom in for a little look, and then I will do another check-in later. So you can see it's getting shiny, and my freckles are definitely showing through. And then pretty red down there. But overall, it's still keeping my skin tone fairly even. I feel like it's faded, but it's fading in a nice way. It's not, as I said, breaking up or doing anything too funny. It is about 6 o'clock now, 8.5 hours after I first put this BB cream on, and I think I'm going to call it at this point. What I'm noticing, well, I will say I'm starting to notice some of the redness on my cheeks coming through, and on my chin I feel like it's worn away. It still has a little bit of coverage, and like my makeup is still holding on a little bit, but the biggest thing I notice is how oily I am on my forehead. It's really coming through, and it feels kind of heavy and greasy, and I usually get a little shiny on my forehead by the end of the day, but I'm even noticing that I'm really shiny on my cheeks, which is not something I usually get. So I think I'm gonna have to try this out with different primers, different setting powders. I didn't use any kind of setting spray or anything today. Basically, I didn't use any primer, just my moisturizer after I clean my face, put the BB cream on, did a very light dusting of Cover FX setting powder, but not very much. And usually I do use my Rimmel Stay Matte powder a bit more, so I think this is one I want to try with that. So the pros of this in my first impression are that I liked the way that it applied, I liked the color of it, I liked the coverage, I liked the feeling of it. I kind of liked how my makeup applied, but it did feel a little bit patchy. I feel that it has faded gracefully through the day. It didn't break apart or start to look too bad, except for the oiliness, because I'm gonna zoom in here. It's just the sheen that is on my forehead right now is crazy. But I don't usually have that kind of sheen on my cheeks or here, and I'm really feeling it all over right now. Next week I will be putting on the Rimmel BB cream, which is the direct competitor against this e.l.f. one for this part of my BB cream showdown. And 2 weeks from today I will be giving you my thoughts on both of those, and I'll tell you a little bit more about how this performed with different powders and primers once I've had a chance to play around with it a little bit. That is all. If you like this, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you've not subscribed but would like to do so, you can click on the subscribe button or on my face at the end of this video. If you like this, you can watch some of my other product reviews, and I will see you again soon. Thanks so much for joining me today. Bye.